guys, it's me, that wasn't Train Boy 2025, back with another episode of What I Like About What. Today I've been thinking about what episode 3 will be about, and I think I finally chosen what it will be. So today will be about what I like about trains and buses. Hope you enjoy. It all started when I was at least 3 years old when I got into the swing of public transportation. First it was buses. My mom told me that every time I would see a bus I would just point at it and say bus. And it wasn't until 4 until I first discovered YouTube. And you know what I used YouTube for? While learning about buses, of course, what else? And then after I discovered it, I eventually looked up a bunch of videos of buses from my state, which is of course Connecticut, and a bunch of other states around the United States, like Washington, Maryland, New York City, New Jersey, and a bunch of other places, man, I could tell you. But then I eventually felt bored of just watching videos. I decided that it would be the perfect time to start a YouTube channel. So y'all may know this intro, right? Well, funny thing is, at the beginning of most of my older videos, there was no intro at all. Just nothing, plain nothing, until I decided to come up with one since I felt like everyone on social media had an intro. First, I chose a loud beeping car horn intro with a text that said subscribe on it. And then it showed one of GBT's mid-20-year-old New Flyer D35LF buses, specifically 5316, passing by, with a text that said, made by That Bus and Train Boy 2024, hope you enjoy the video. But I don't use this intro anymore because of how loud the horn is, and I was thinking it would have confused some people if there was a loud car beeping outside, so I decided to change it to the intro I use to this day, which would be this. And now, as we say goodbye to the Why I Like Buses part, we will now be moving on to the Why I Like Trains part. Editor, cue the thumbnail. The train, also known as the choo-choo by little kids, is a piece of metal that rides on steel wheels, also known as trucks by rail enthusiasts. But they don't go choo-choo anymore, they go. But the funny thing is that some trains still go choo-choo to this day, but not in Connecticut though. Another funny thing is that y'all kids need to grow up, bro. Which I don't mean any offense to anyone in particular, but y'all, if y'all are offended, just leave, bro. Here, I'll click the button right now. But yeah, for those of you who live under a rock and don't know what a train is something that rides on metal rails to get to where it needs to go. Oh, by the way, it can't steer. Also, there are 3 terms of types of trains, known as steam, diesel, electric, hydrogen, and many freaking more. A steam train is a type of train that boils water in a boiler by using coal, and then the water sets so hot that it turns the water into freaking steam. Wow! Magic from a train! There are also certain types of steam trains that can be powered by wood, coal, or anything, actually, if you think about it. Diesel locomotives, or are referred to by rail fans diesel electric locomotives, are powered by a diesel engine that burns fuel to feed to traction motors that power the entire locomotive. And if it's a passenger locomotive, to also supply head and power. For those of you who don't know, head and power are the cables on the front of a cab car or locomotive that you see that rows down the entire train to supply electricity, heating, and other things. Which those other things would be braking, accelerating, and, as I just said, other things. And our last category, electric. And yes, I know I'm not doing hydrogen because I'm not. But yeah, jokes aside, electric locomotives use a overhead pantograph or a third rail shoe below that the third rail shoe collects third rail electricity from a electrical third rail, which poses risks for crew members working below, as well as overhead electrical wires too. An electric locomotive is something that uses a overhead catenary wire, or as some rail fans like to call them pantographs. It uses it to collect electricity or feed it back into the electrical wires for other trains to use, which is also something called regenerative braking. Okay, now moving on to the main part of this video. Why do I like trains and buses so much, you may ask? Which is the reason why my name is That Bus and Train Boy 2025. Why I like trains first is because I like their horns, I like the ditch lights, I like how long some of them are, like freight trains and many more. I just like trains. I'm a train type. I'm a trainiac. Now for the buses, I mainly like them because of their design, which I mean designs like this. Well guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in episode 3 and goodbye.